All right, so you sent over a really fascinating collection of articles
Yeah.
about how our daily routines and what we eat can impact our energy levels,
Hmm.
both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
We've got all sorts of stuff here. We've got everything from morning routines
Right.
to the Mediterranean diet, tips for waking up earlier,
Mhm.
and even a glimpse into the high-pressure world of professional kitchens.
You've definitely got a pretty holistic approach in mind here.
Yeah.
I love that we can explore these sources and see
Yeah.
how they all connect.
Yeah.
Maybe pull out some really surprising takeaways and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully leave you with some food for thought.
Speaking of food,
Okay.
two of the articles,
Yeah.
one from Wiseman Health and the other from Planet Fitness,
Mm-hmm.
offer really different approaches to morning routines.
Okay.
Wiseman Health really focuses on things like hydration,
Right.
getting some sunlight,
Yeah.
meditation, or mindfulness,
Okay.
even grounding and breath work.
Right.
It's about setting the tone for your whole day
Yeah.
by really tuning into your mind and body.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got Planet Fitness,
Right.
which jumps right into a 30-minute workout.
Right into it.
They've got it all planned out, warming up,
Mm-hmm.
strength training, with moves like push-ups and squats,
Yep.
cardio bursts,
Okay.
and then a cool down with stretching.
Interesting.
It's interesting, though, because even with these totally different approaches, both articles really stress the importance of consistency.
Right.
And starting small.
Yeah.
They acknowledge that not everyone is a morning person,
Of course.
and that finding the best time to work out is really individual.
It is. It is.
So whether you're doing yoga at sunrise
yeah.
or hitting the gym after work,
Mhm.
the key is finding what works for you and making it a habit.
Yeah. And that's a great point, actually.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something from the Planet Fitness article
Okay.
that really stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
They actually suggest experimenting with different times to work out and seeing how your energy levels respond
Okay.
throughout the day.
Oh, interesting.
So rather than just assuming that morning workouts are best,
Right.
they encourage you to figure out
Yeah.
what works best for your own body.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's all about personalizing your approach,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
What works for one person might not work for another.
definitely not.
Which makes me wonder, do you thrive on a really structured routine? Or do you prefer things to be a little more flexible?
I think that's a key question to consider because
Yeah.
it can really help you figure out which of these suggestions
Right.
would actually work in your life.
Yeah.
Maybe it is that 5-minute morning meditation
Yeah.
that Wiseman Health recommends,
Mm-hmm.
or perhaps it's the quick but intense workout routine from Planet Fitness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you also sent in an article from Eating Well
Okay.
that outlines a 31-day Mediterranean diet meal plan
Uh-huh.
specifically designed to boost energy levels.
Okay.
I'm seeing lots of whole grains. Yep.
Fruits and veggies,
Mhm.
lean protein,
Right.
healthy fats.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem restrictive at all.
Exactly. It's not about deprivation.
Oh,
It's about adding in
Yeah.
those nutrient-rich foods that give you that sustained energy throughout the day.
Throughout the day. Yeah.
And one thing I found really interesting was
Yeah.
they give specific examples
Good.
of how to adapt
Mm-hmm.
the Mediterranean diet to different cultures.
Oh, cool.
Like instead of feta cheese, you could use tofu in a Greek salad
Okay.
to make it more plant-based.
That's a great example of how adaptable this way of
Yeah.
eating can be.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people hear Mediterranean diet
Right.
and picture very specific ingredients.
Yeah.
But this article shows it can be much more inclusive than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it gets even more intriguing when we look at the article from McLean Hospital.
Okay.
They actually dive into the connection between diet and mental health.
And find that traditional diets, like the Mediterranean,
Okay.
can actually have benefits for mood anxiety
Mm.
and even conditions like ADHD.
Wait, really? The food we eat
Yeah.
can impact our mental health that much?
It seems so.
Wow.
The article explains that it all comes down to gut health,
Okay.
inflammation,
Mm.
and how our brains use the nutrients
Right.
that we provide.
Yeah.
These traditional diets are packed with all the good stuff
Okay.
that really helps our brains function at their best.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So does this make you curious about exploring new recipes or
Yes.
ways of cooking?
Yeah.
Maybe trying a few meals
Yeah.
from that 31-day plan
Yeah.
as a starting point.
It definitely makes me think about how powerful food can be.
Now, you also sent in a couple of sources about waking up earlier.
Right.
Real Simple gives 6 steps for becoming a morning person,
Mm-hmm.
which seem pretty reasonable, finding your motivation.
Yeah.
Setting a strict sleep schedule,
Uh-huh.
getting enough light exposure.
Good sleep hygiene,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, consistency.
Right.
And then there's the Training Pal YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
The host's morning routine
Yeah.
is
Fantastic.
next level.
Very intense.
They combine breath work,
Mm-hmm.
yoga,
Yeah.
at a cold shower,
Yeah.
all before most people even hit snooze. Talk about willpower. Seriously.
I have to admit, a cold shower first thing in the morning wouldn't be my first choice.
Oh, no.
But the dedication is impressive.
It really is.
I wonder what's your ideal morning scenario? Is it about quiet time,
It might be.
getting a workout in, or
Yeah.
just not feeling so rushed?
I think knowing your why
Yeah.
can be incredibly motivating
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to changing your habits.
Yeah.
Especially something as ingrained as your wake-up routine.
Yeah.
And this actually connects back to the last article you sent in,
Mhm.
which is that personal essay from
Yeah.
a chef about
Yeah.
resilience in the high-pressure world
Yeah.
of professional kitchens.
Okay.
It really makes you appreciate how demanding that environment can be.
Yeah.
Long hours,
Yeah.
intense heat,
Yeah.
and constant pressure to perform.
It sounds like a recipe for burnout.
Right. But that's what makes the chef's perspective so insightful.
Okay.
They emphasize that resilience isn't about just gritting your teeth
Mhm.
and pushing through.
Right.
It's about actively prioritizing
Okay.
both your physical and mental well-being.
So things like taking mindful breaks,
Yeah.
staying hydrated,
Uh-huh.
and creating a supportive work culture
Right.
are all crucial, even in a fast-paced environment like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder
Yeah.
that self-care
Mm-hmm.
isn't a luxury.
Right.
It's a necessity,
It's a necessity.
no matter what field you're in.
What stood out to you the most
Yeah.
from the chef's perspective?
We
Is
want
it the importance of team meals,
Maybe.
open communication,
Yeah.
or making time for personal things even when work is so demanding?
I think what resonated with me most was the emphasis on mindfulness. Even in that chaotic kitchen environment.
Right.
The chef talks about intentionally taking a few moments to just breathe and reset
Right.
when things get overwhelming.
Yeah.
That kind of mindful pause,
Okay.
even for just a minute or two,
Right.
can make a huge difference
Yeah.
in managing stress.
And that actually loops back to what we were discussing earlier about
Right.
becoming a morning person.
Uh-huh.
The Real Simple article we looked at highlights the importance of
Yeah.
finding your motivation
Right.
for waking up earlier.
Yeah.
They say it's crucial
Okay.
to have a strong why to actually get you out of bed
Yeah.
when it's cold and dark outside.
It's not enough to just set an earlier alarm.
Right.
You need a compelling reason
Yeah.
to actually get out of bed when it goes off.
Right.
The article even suggests writing down a list
Oh.
of those motivating factors
Okay.
and keeping it by your bedside.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like a little pep talk for your sleepy self.
Right.
And they also talk about the power
Sure.
of establishing a consistent sleep schedule,
Wow.
even on the weekends.
Yeah.
This helps regulate your circadian rhythm,
Right.
making it easier to fall asleep and wake up at the same time each day.
So even if you enjoy sleeping in on Saturdays,
Yeah.
sticking to a somewhat regular sleep schedule might
Mhm.
actually make you feel more rested overall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about working with your body's natural rhythms,
Exactly.
not against them.
Yeah.
And speaking of natural rhythms, the
Yeah.
Real Simple article also talks about
Yeah.
the importance of light exposure.
Okay.
Getting sunlight first thing in the morning helps
Yeah.
wake up your brain.
It does.
And avoiding bright lights in the evening
Mm-hmm.
can help signal to your body that it's time to wind down.
Yeah.
They even suggest using a light box
Yeah.
during the darker winter months
Mm-hmm.
to help mimic the effects of sunlight.
It's amazing how much our
Wow.
internal clocks are influenced by light.
And it reminds me of the Training Pal video we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The host starts their day
Mhm.
with sun salutations,
Yeah.
a series of yoga poses
Mhm.
that are traditionally practiced
Yeah.
facing the rising sun.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like a ritual for welcoming the day and
Yeah.
setting a positive tone.
I like that.
I like that.
It's a very intentional way to
Yeah.
start your morning.
And, of course, the Real Simple article
Right.
also stresses the importance of good sleep hygiene.
Yeah, those basics.
Things like avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed,
Yeah.
keeping your bedroom cool and dark, and establishing a relaxing bedtime routine.
That's so important.
These are all things we've heard before,
Yeah,
but it's easy to forget how much they can impact the quality of our sleep.
absolutely.
And the Training Pal video actually aligns with this too.
Oh, does it?
The host emphasizes the importance of breath work
Okay.
for calming the mind
Yeah.
and preparing for sleep,
So important.
which could definitely be incorporated
Yeah.
into a mindful wind-down routine.
It really could.
It's all about finding those activities
Mm-hmm.
that help you relax and de-stress before bed.
Now, there was something in the Real Simple article
Okay.
that really intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
They recommend incorporating mindful activities
Okay.
into both your wake-up and your wind-down routines.
Into both.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you mean by that?
Well, in the morning,
Okay.
they suggest taking some time for yourself
Mhm.
to do something positive
Okay.
that sets you up for a good day.
Yeah.
It could be journaling, stretching,
Right.
listening to uplifting music,
Okay.
or just taking a few moments
Yeah.
to practice mindfulness.
Right.
The key is to start your day with intention and focus.
Intention and focus.
Yeah.
And in the evening.
In the evening, they suggest
Okay.
spending the hour before bed
Mm.
doing something relaxing,
Okay.
away from screens.
Away from screens.
Yeah.
So reading a book,
Yeah.
taking a bath,
Mm.
listening to calming music,
Right.
anything that helps you unwind and
Right.
disconnect
Yeah.
from the day's stresses.
They even suggest setting aside some worry time.
Worry time.
Yeah. Earlier in the evening.
Okay.
So if you tend to lie awake
Mm-hmm.
thinking about all the things you need to do,
Yeah.
dedicating 15 to 20 minutes
Okay.
to writing down those worries
Okay.
can actually help clear your mind before bed.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like giving yourself permission to worry,
Yeah.
but within a contained time frame,
Take
so
those
it doesn't spill over into your sleep.
Exactly.
And it goes back to that idea
Yeah.
of being intentional
Mm.
with your time and energy.
Right.
We've been talking a lot about individual habits and routines.
Yeah.
But that essay from the chef in No Worker Left Behind got me thinking about resilience
Yeah.
on a larger scale, especially in demanding work environments.
Right.
It's easy to romanticize
It
the
is.
culinary world,
Uh-huh.
but her perspective really highlights the
Yeah.
grit and determination it
Yeah.
takes to succeed
Mm.
in that kind of environment.
And what I found most compelling was her point
Yeah.
that resilience isn't just about
Okay.
powering through exhaustion and stress.
Right.
It's about actively nurturing your well-being,
Mm-hmm.
both physically and mentally.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
She talks about the importance of prioritizing things
Yeah.
like team meals,
Okay.
open communication about stress,
Right.
and even scheduling personal time.
Yeah.
Even amidst the chaos of a busy kitchen,
I know. It's so important.
it's a great reminder that
Yeah.
self-care isn't selfish. It's
Yeah.
essential
It really is.
for sustainable success in any field,
Yeah.
not just the culinary world.
Not just the culinary world.
It makes me wonder,
Yeah.
what are the areas in your own work or daily life that require the most resilience?
That's a good question.
And what strategies do you use to
Yeah.
navigate those challenges?
Sometimes simply acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
the need for resilience
Yeah.
is the first step towards building it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And this leads us perfectly to the McLean Hospital article on the link between diet and mental health.
Okay.
The research they highlight is fascinating.
It is.
It seems that what we eat
Mm.
can have a profound impact,
On our mood.
like our anxiety levels
Yeah.
and even our ability to focus.
They talk about the importance of serotonin.
Serotonin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is often referred to as
Yeah.
the feel-good
A
neurotransmitter.
feel-good neurotransmitter, right?
And it turns out that the production of serotonin is heavily reliant
Yeah.
on the nutrients we get from our diet.
So if we're not getting enough of those key nutrients,
yeah.
our brains might not be able to produce enough
Yeah.
of the chemicals that help regulate our mood and emotions.
Our mood and emotions, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And the article also delves into
Okay.
the fascinating world of the gut microbiome.
Gut microbiome.
It seems that the trillions of bacteria
I know.
living in our gut
Yeah.
play a huge role
They do.
in our overall health,
They really do.
including our mental health.
They even mention a study
Okay.
that found a link
Okay.
between a more diverse gut microbiome in pregnant women
Okay.
and fewer depressive,
Yeah.
anxious, or withdrawn characteristics in their toddlers.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of nourishing our gut with the right kinds of foods.
Okay.
Things like fiber-rich fruits,
Right.
vegetables, and whole grains,
Yeah.
which those beneficial bacteria thrive on.
The article also points out the connection between inflammation and mental health.
Yeah.
It turns out that chronic inflammation, which can be triggered by a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats, can negatively impact brain function and contribute to mood disorders.
It's not just about what we're putting into our bodies.
Right.
It's also about what we're keeping OUT.
Which is why the article emphasizes the importance of limiting ultra-processed foods, those culinary creations that are designed to be hyper-palatable and addictive, but often lack real nutritional value.
They make a great distinction between diet and dieting.
Right.
Diet is simply the pattern of food we eat regularly while dieting. It often implies a temporary and restrictive approach that can actually be harmful to both our physical and mental well-being.
That's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
And it ties back to the chef's perspective on resilience.
Oh, it does.
It's not about deprivation or punishment.
Yeah.
It's about making choices that nourish and support our bodies and minds.
Our bodies and minds.
Now, we focused a lot on the Mediterranean diet, but the McLean Hospital article also mentions other traditional diets, like the Okinawan, Nordic, and West African diets.
Interesting.
What's interesting is that they all share some key characteristics.
What are those?
An emphasis on whole foods, plant-based proteins, healthy fats, and minimal processed foods.
It suggests that there's not just one right way to eat for mental well-being, but there are some common principles that seem to promote a healthy gut, reduce inflammation, and provide the nutrients our brains need to function optimally.
So instead of getting bogged down in the specifics of any one diet, it might be more helpful to focus on those overarching principles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding a way of eating that's sustainable, enjoyable, and aligns with your own individual needs and preferences.
The McLean Hospital article brings up an interesting concept, the bidirectional link between food and mood.
What does that mean?
It basically means that our mood can influence our food choices, and our food choices can influence our mood.
Oh, wow.
For example, when we're feeling stressed or down, we might be more likely to reach for comfort foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt.
Because those foods trigger the release of dopamine.
Dopamine.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reward neurotransmitter. Giving us a temporary mood boost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those mood boosts are fleeting.
They are.
And they often lead to a crash later on, leaving us feeling even worse than before.
They can create a vicious cycle where we're constantly seeking out those quick fixes, but never addressing the underlying cause of our emotional distress.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So it becomes crucial to break that cycle by becoming aware of our emotional eating patterns and finding healthier ways to cope with stress and negative emotions.
The article even suggests keeping a food and mood diary.
A food and mood diary.
Yeah, to help identify those triggers.
Interesting.
Track what you eat and drink alongside your mood and energy levels for a week or two. You might be surprised at the patterns you start to see.
That's a great idea. Awareness is always the first step.
It is.
Towards making positive changes.
The article also offers some practical tips for improving nutrition for mental health. Things like cutting out ultra-processed foods, making healthy fats your go-to, having healthy snacks readily available, and shopping with a list to avoid impulse purchases.
And they emphasize the importance of eating mindfully, savoring each bite, and paying attention to your body's signals of hunger and fullness.
It's about shifting from a mindset of restriction and deprivation to one of nourishment and enjoyment.
Here, let's be realistic.
It's
Completely overhauling your diet overnight probably isn't sustainable for most people.
But even incorporating one or two of these tips into your routine can make a difference.
Yeah.
Maybe it's swapping out that afternoon soda for a glass of water.
Okay.
Or adding a handful of nuts to your lunch to keep you feeling full and energized. Right. Small changes can add up over time.
And consistency is key.
It is.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making progress.
I think that's an important point to remember as we move into the last part of our deep dive, where we'll be discussing intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet.
Intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet.
Okay.
These are two eating patterns that have gained a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
And the McLean Hospital article provides some insight into their potential benefits for mental well-being.
Right.
Let's start with intermittent fasting.
Okay.
Which has really captured people's attention lately.
Seems like everyone's trying it these days.
It really does.
Yeah.
The McLean Hospital article frames it as a way to tap into our body's natural fuel reserves.
Okay.
It challenges the idea that we need to be eating constantly throughout the day.
Right, like grazing all day.
And it's not just about cutting calories, right?
No.
It's about giving our digestive systems a break and allowing our bodies to shift into a different metabolic state.
That's right. The article actually quotes Dr. Christopher Palmer, who explains that fasting encourages our bodies to recycle old and damaged cells, essentially cleaning house.
Cleaning house.
While we're not busy digesting food.
So it's like hitting the reset button on our metabolism.
Exactly. And there's evidence suggesting that this metabolic shift can have positive effects on both physical and mental health.
The article mentions that fasting can help reduce inflammation,
right,
which we already know can contribute to mood disorders.
Yeah, and it can also improve insulin sensitivity.
Insulin sensitivity.
Which is essential for regulating blood sugar levels.
And as we've discussed, stable blood sugar is linked to better mood and energy levels.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the article also cautions against taking fasting to extremes.
Of course.
Absolutely. Dr. Palmer emphasizes the importance of finding the right balance for your body.
Right.
And considering any medical conditions you might have.
Yeah.
Skipping a meal here and there could be beneficial. But prolonged or extreme fasting can backfire.
Right.
Potentially leading to nutrient deficiencies and other health complications.
So it sounds like if you're thinking about trying intermittent fasting, it's crucial to consult with your doctor or a registered dietitian to make sure it's a safe and appropriate approach for you.
I completely agree. Now, let's shift gears to the ketogenic diet.
The ketogenic diet.
Another dietary intervention that often gets linked to mental health benefits. Although it seems even more controversial than intermittent fasting.
It does seem to be a bit more polarizing.
It does. The ketogenic diet, or keto for short, drastically reduces carbohydrate intake and increases fat consumption, essentially facing the body to burn fat for fuel instead of glucose.
So this leads to the production of ketones, which is where the name ketogenic comes from.
Precisely. And the McLean Hospital article points out that this ketone-fueled state can have a significant impact on the brain.
They mention that the ketogenic diet was initially developed to treat epilepsy, and it's still used today as an effective therapy for drug-resistant seizures.
Yes, and the article highlights Dr. Palmer's research, which explores the potential benefits of the ketogenic diet for other mental health conditions, like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and treatment-resistant depression.
Wow. It's amazing to think that a dietary change could have such a significant impact on these really complex neurological conditions.
It really is. And while more research is needed to fully understand the mechanisms at play, there's growing evidence that the ketogenic diet could help balance neurotransmitters, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. All factors that we've talked about today that can positively affect mental well-being.
The article even mentions a potential positive effect on the gut microbiome, which, as we've talked about, is a key player in mental health.
However, just like with intermittent fasting, the article stresses the importance of approaching the ketogenic diet cautiously.
Because it's such a big change in how you're eating.
Exactly. There are potential risks and side effects to consider.
So once again, it's essential to consult with your doctor or a registered dietitian to ensure it's an appropriate approach for you.
They can also help you navigate the different versions of the ketogenic diet and ensure you're following a plan that's both safe and effective.
Because, as Dr. Palmer points out, not all keto diets are created equal.
You've got that right. So it's important to do your research and seek guidance from a qualified professional.
Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have.
We covered a lot of ground today, from morning routines and the Mediterranean diet to the complexities of intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet.
And we explored the importance of resilience. The power of the gut microbiome. And that profound connection between food and mental health.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
And I have to say, I've learned a lot.
Me too. And I hope you have as well. Remember, the purpose of this deep dive wasn't to tell you what to do, but to give you the knowledge and the inspiration to make choices that support your own personal well-being journey.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works best for you.
Exactly.
Sometimes that involves trying new things and stepping outside of your comfort zone.
As you go forward with these new insights, remember to be curious, be open-minded, and above all, be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
It's a journey, not a destination. And it's okay to take it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.
And remember, your well-being is worth the effort.